Before I start, I'd like to restate my oath of office in just two sentences. My oath of office says, in not so many words, that I swear to preserve the nation and protect the people. That is all there is to it. Nothing follows. President Ramos, sir, thank you for inviting me. It's a great honor. It was more of your speech was a set of instructions, and I appreciate it. That you were talking about the ship of state, which is really the most important thing for all of us, and under my stewardship, that I should pursue the Filipino dream. Although you might not agree with all the things that I have done or will be doing, let me assure you that the light at the end of the tunnel is my country. And I will do anything for the Filipino people. And this might not really be too harsh for you to understand it. But when I was mayor, sir, I promised the people of Davao City that I will, you know how it was then, that I will build a city that could be comfortable for everybody. Might not really be a rich city, economically, maybe on the same flat line as the others at the time, but I said that I would make it comfortable for you all. And so I said, with a little bit of hubris, but which was really needed to make people understand and maybe to realize the gravity of the situation. And I said, do not destroy my country because I will kill you. And do not destroy the young people, our only asset. They are the assets, they are the human beings that would take care of us when we get old. Sila yung mangbayad ng aming medisina, oxygen, even the funeral parlor payments, and a humble lot in a cemetery. Because we are not all rich, so we have to depend on our parents as we depended on them when we were young. So it is important that this must be understood by all. It's not in my speech, I've diverted. Because I wanted to express my feeling as a Filipino. Scripted man to, it's only 2 pages. Kakahiya naman kay. I was invited, I was reminded twice, and I said, I will go. If it is His Excellency, the President Ramos, I will be there. So, that was my line. Perhaps to instill fear, because rather than kill them, the criminals and all, the terrorists, I might just get or convey to them, get to them, wag yan, not the thing, because it will mean something more than just fighting. And so when I became president, ganon rin. And not so many people realize it. Now, Trump and Guterres in Indonesia were talking about the gravity of the drug situation all around the world. Now, in the Philippines, I'd like to give you a little bit of what we have learned so far. I think this dope situation in Southeast Asia is being run by the triad of Asia. And Senyalosa, it's doing her thing, the Midland cartel, using the network of containers. That is why do not conclude right away that the owner of the container is the smuggler of the drugs. The smugglers and the Senyalosa have a captive audience inside. So they would place it under the ceiling because that's all steel. It is nakabalot pa yan. It's covered with high-grade plastics. So one of those was intercepted in Davao. Kaya kawawa naman yung mga tao, especially the legit importers, and their containers are taken advantage of by criminal gang. So this has to be a thorough investigation before we start to blame mostly Chinese. Seek first the advice of, anyway, we have the cooperative international intelligence sharing, and we can have that. So it's more important really is not to drag along innocent people into a criminal case which we are not sure of. My experience in Davao, what was the cargo? It was banana. Where was it headed for? In the United States. But the ceiling, before it came from a certain country nearby, it was already half filled to pick up more containers before going to sailing. I think it was in the southern part of America. Yan ang mahirap dyan. So if it's just nobody in his right mind really would do that. Dito wala nang laboratory masyado kasi alam nila patayin ko talaga sila. So they have resorted to yung jettison plastics and all filled with drugs. No more. It's being cooked in trawlers, in dilapidated ships, just along the coastal international borders. At itinitatapon. They jettison it and it's being picked up by the landlords, drug lords here. Well, as I said, there's the policy. I hope we do not have to stare at each other to say that I did not warn me. Drug is very, what would be the better word, vicious, and it destroys. Bato says it's 1,600,000. Before PDF pegged it at 3 million. Taking Bato's figures at 200 per day, that would be about 6,000 a month. Times the 1/6 of Bato, times the number of days in 1 year, it could reach about 210, 215 billion industry. All reducing my countrymen into slavery to a drug called shabu. And they will hunger for it, and they will crave for it for the rest of their lives in an inutil and paralyzed human being. Yan ang masakit sa akin. And most of all, what pains me are those millions of Filipino workers. You know, when you remove a mother from a family or she is going to work in the Middle East, that family is partially dysfunctional. If the husband and the wife will decide to work, leaving their children sometimes to their neighbors, sometimes to their relatives, the family becomes dysfunctional totally. And yet we know that they suffer abuse. There are certain, I am not saying all, but there are certain tribes there that allow slavery. And even if you are a paid domestic, abuse comes naturally. Kaya masakit sa akin ng itong mga Pilipina na taga-bukid, nandoon Abra, Pangasinan, as far as pati mga Moro na mga babae na punta doon. They endure it. Abortion is just an everyday thing there. That is why itong mga pills malakas ang binlaan. Wala tayong magawa. And they stay there for 4 years, 3 years, and suffer rape, abuse, being sometimes placed in a freezer for 1 month, and you want me to just smile? Say, we'll just let the diplomatic. That's good that I thank the Lord that we saw our countrymen now. Before I agreed to resume normalize the situation, I said that there must be given 1 day off. Cell phones and passports cannot be confiscated. No physical abuse or physical contact. And their pay should be directly paid to the bank. All these agreements were acquiesced, and we have a working document there to govern our relations. Well, I would not name the country, but this is it. I will gamble, and they say that you cannot invite them home. Why not? You do not have any money. Why? We cannot spend for our suffering fellow countrymen. Ay yung gumasto pag nag-uwi lahat yan dito, di magtiis tayo. Ubusin ko yung pera ng gobyerno, pakain ko dyan sa mga Pilipino. What's the use of having a GDP of, and yet you suffer our countrymen are humiliated, degraded of their human dignity. Kaya nag-react ako, I am prone to curse, epithets. Ganon ako kasi nakakaano naman. Ayan ang sentimento ko. Huwag na huwag mong pahirapan ang Pilipino. Kasi pag pahirapan mo ang Pilipino, hindi ko mataisput. We are not, I was not born equal to your standards or values. May kanya-kanya tayong how we look at mine is simply, I said, to preserve the nation, and that is address to all revolutionaries. Either we talk or we fight. We'll go all the chances. And government has been talking. Miswari has been biding his time. He said that it will depend on Duterte's timetable. I told Noor na hintay ka lang, but we will come up with a happy compromise for all. I may not be able to give you everything, but on a scale of 1 to 10, if I can deliver about 6, that would be good to me. Don't you agree? So you're getting old. They say that I'm dying. Of course, I will die someday. Walang problema yan. Death should not worry anybody. It's inevitable and it can happen any day. So what is there to talk about my discoloration? Pumunta ako ng Jordan, desert, and I was watching well, I'm not, it was something to do with military. I cannot discuss it with you in public. Pero tinignan ko yung mabuti kung if it materializes, then we're thankful to everybody who can help us. The Marawi incident shows the need for cooperation with everybody. The United States, Australia, the government of America shared with all of these things, and ako naman, sabi ko sa military, just go ahead. I'm not in the mood to. Wala naman akong alam sa armas. I do not know anything. I'm not a technical person. I'm a lawyer. So just go ahead. So that's my stand. Remember this momentous event. The maybe one of the many crowning moments of your life, Your Excellency, President Ramos. But remember this. I do not know how you look at me. But remember this. If we cannot have law and order in this country, and if we cannot control corruption, we will never rise even in parity of the level now of Malaysia and Indonesia in 5 or 10 years. But do not castigate or crucify our country. Depende yan eh. So would you ask, is God fair? I don't know. I've been asking that question. But I'm sure there is God. How it evolves into something to human beings in this universe is something which I cannot really answer. But, you know, in the human history, right after the war, everybody was scavenging, but at the same time desperately looking for the resources to build their nations. Ang problema, I do not know if God has something to do with it, but I'd rather talk about the thing itself. Meron ang Indonesia, Malaysia, pati Brunei especially, they're awash with oil. Kasi it's a favorite term. It has become almost a cliche na sabihin mo na, yung Pilipinas number 2 noon, tapos ngayon we are second to the last Bangladesh. Why? Well, mas marunong man kayo sa akin. We do not have oil. We do not have the buffer for supply and even the hedge in the economy. You can take it out, pero, you know, everything that you see around, everything is oil. This one is made by a machine, powered by oil. The chandeliers, the step there, gusto kong umiyak. Kasi, I know how much of the gross domestic product would eat into our incomes. So every time, yung mga Pilipino naman, I don't blame the others. It's politics. The name of the game is politics. So the more that you are, that's politics. That's how the way to get power. Intrigue, lies, and everything. Kung anong everything is fair in love, in politics, and in war. Yan talagang totoo. Why would you blame the Philippines? Sabihin mo na, you know, because every time there is an increase in the oil prices, if it hits 60, with 60 per barrel, we are in trouble. And I will admit to the Filipino nation that it could not just be something like a huge inflation. It will redound to something like almost suffering. And that's why do not believe that I do not have a God. Of course, I believe in God. You know, even by computation, I started to doubt. But when I was in high school, I started to compute. Earth is, they say, 4.5 to 6 billion years old. And the skies are full of trillions and billions and trillions and billions of foreign matter, planets, galaxies. If I try to compute the average odds of us being hit by another meteor that would be as big as ours, you know, for 500 billion, wala talagang tumama. Wala tumama because there is God. Because if God allows everything to go out of the gravitational positions, we will be banging each other and there will be no universe. Considering how huge the universe, but also the foreign bodies there, at 4.5 to 5 billion, sabi ba, really, that long, walang nangyari? If there is no something of a universal mind controlling this universe, matagal na tayong tapos. And that is my thinking of why there is God. Pero to be asking na bakit binigay ng Diyos yan, wala sa atin, that is something for the human mind and soul. Because the soul has the mind, and probably at that time, God will give us the answer. In the meantime, we are going 4.5 or 5 billion years. And maybe in 200 billion years, may tatama talaga ba siya? But I will be shaking hands with you in heaven. So that is my... But for the... Sir, basahin ko na lang, sir, with your permission, yung speech ko. Kaawa naman yung gumawa nito. I've been president. This stuff works over time, really. So, I do not use former. President is a title that sticks to you until kingdom come. So, His Excellency President Fidel V. Ramos and Madam Amelita Ming Ramos, Their Excellencies in the Diplomatic Corps, Education Secretary Leonor Briones and the other members of the Cabinet, Senator Cynthia Villar, ma'am, and other members of the Senate are here. Ma'am, yung kandidato ko, ma'am, awa pa naman. UCCP Secretary General Bishop Melzar Labuntog, Chairman Pastor Keith Early, Cabral, and other members of the United Church of Christ in the Philippines, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to have been invited by President Ramos to give this keynote message on the launching of his book, Prosper Thy Neighbor. Indeed, we all want not only the Filipinos but our countrymen to be in a comfortable place. This is indeed another milestone in his brilliant and prolific writing career, and one that is surely to inspire all of us for a long time. Please stay around for another 100 years. We need you. This compilation of speeches, essays, anecdotes, and editorial underscores the role of a president as the skipper or captain of the Philippines. the one person who can unite in resolving pressing issues that we face as a nation. He also offers valuable insight on the role of the Philippines in achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, built on the core and principle of leaving no one behind. These goals target the eradication of poverty and the promotion of sustainable development across the world. Mr. President, I assure you that in this administration is exerting its efforts, ultimate efforts, even utmost, in making more progress to achieve these development goals, not just because it is mandated by the UN, but more importantly because it is for the good of the nation, the Republic of the Philippines. This is why we have made great strides and we remain unrelenting in our efforts to address the root of causes of poverty and hunger, unemployment, corruption, criminality, dangerous drugs, endemic disease, environmental degradations, and climate change. Ito, tignan mo ang Boracay ngayon. Sabi nila bukas mag-inaugurate. I will go to Boracay, but I will go to distribute the lands given to the artists. Di ako masyado. I'm not into sumptuous celebration. But I will go to Boracay to personally distribute the land reform program certificates to the Lungmads there, the natives. Binigay ko sa kanya yung entire, the whole of, kasi alam ko pag hindi maubos yan. And Boracay is just a small place. If you allow hotels and every subdivision there, it cannot. It's because a world-class, everybody wants to go there. And if you have a land, it cannot carry beyond its normal capacity in terms of environmental loads and burdens. So, hindi ako pupunta doon. But I'll go there someday to, I'm waiting for the Department of Agrarian Reforms to, para sa akin mas importante yan. I am through with dramas and show-offs. I am stuck with my term, and I do not have to go politicking. I might go there someday, but not just to... Ayaw ko ibandera. Maganda na kasi daw ang Boracay, and I saw the footages sa TV. And I hope that now that it's clean, it has been eradicated of the bacteria, the huge bacteria there. I hope that the local government, and of course with Roy Simato, who is there, I just talked to him, was asking me a moment ago if I'm going there. I said, no, I'm not. I'll go there for the land distribution of the land reform. The Philippines remains firm in preserving our diplomatic relations with our traditional allies and the international community as long as it is constant with our national interest. It is under this paradigm that we continue to do our part in global cooperation against the universal problems that plague our world today. Let me thank President Ramos again for his wisdom and for his inspiring thoughts conveyed to our people, especially our youth, to take part in achieving the international community's aspiration for lasting peace and sustainable development and a higher quality of life for all. He said, remember that it's not our fault really, even with the present, but we are trying. You know, at one time I was so exasperated in a command conference that I asked that if every major commanders of the armed forces, Navy, Army, Sabi ko, tumindig lang kayong apat ngayon. You stand up to signify your willingness that I will step down, and I will step down. I offered to step down. Sabi, hindi ko kaya. Corruption dito, tapos maasahan mo dito, pagdating mo, meron na naman na bago. It was a cabinet meeting, then after that, the command conference. Sabi ko, hindi ko kaya. Hindi ko kaya habulin. Hindi ko talaga kaya habulin. Every desk in this government, with a few exceptions, merong pag mag-transaction talaga. So I have to revise the procedure. Hindi naman tumindig ang military, pati pulis. Ibig sabihin na, sige, trabaho ka muna dyan. I will revise the entire, I don't know if I have the time, but just a vignettes of life. My father was a governor of Davao, 12 years. But when President Marcos won, he got my father into the cabinet, general services. So my father was one of the two remaining nationalistas who did not jump over the fence. As the usual, ganun. Kung saan administrasyon, doon yan. But my father and I think it was Governor Ibarle of Zamboanga refused. So when President Marcos won, he got my father into the cabinet. His Excellency President Ramos, my favorite president, amongst all, including the incumbent. He was the chief Philippine Constabulary at the time. But Ramos was very bright, because under the general services was the Bureau of Supply, Philippine politics, Philippine culture. Maaga nandyan. So, President Marcos said, go into some kind of canvassing. There is always the international pricing. Kung magbili ka ng tractor, tignan mo lang. And if it's a matter of 3 or 4%, commission yan, pati freight. Pero kung mag-abot na ang price difference, you compare it with the international pricing, and it's about 10 or 20%, that's corruption. So malaman ko nga, so I'm setting up that body. Will nothing but tingnan lang nila yung mga presyo sa lahat. Start with paper clips down to paper bonds, then to chains. Then I will decide who will. Titignan lang nila. Just checking, another checking. So I do not mean to, this is not a set up for, no. But rather just to call your attention that, medyo mataas yan. Nandito man lahat cabinet members. No transaction will ever reach my table. Nandiyan ba yung mga cabinet members? Peron, si Delfin Lorenzana. Walang transaction dito na MRT, LRT, reclamation. They do not. It begins and ends with the cabinet member. I only sign mga appointments, tapos yung central bank, whatever, that's submitted to me by Dominguez. Yun lang. And for the life of me, you can ask anybody. Walang papel na. Yung frigate, I promised everybody that if there is corruption, you can come to me and I will give you any time of the day or night. Sabihin mo lang doon sa gwardiya, may reklamo ako kay Duterte na may corruption, and I will call the idiot immediately. Nga lang nangyari dito, the complainant was the winning bidder. Nag-complain siya doon sa Malacanang, bakit hindi pa i-deliver yung frigate? So as practice, pagkasabi corruption, give it attention. Binigay kay Secretary Lorenzana, tapos iniper niya sa legal, which is really the proper course. He's not a lawyer. Somebody got hold of it. Yung frigate. So, Malacanang was wala, tapos na yun eh, pa-deliver. Ang nanaw sa niya, kailangan ko i-deliver to kasi pera to eh. Yun lang ang complaint niya. Well, it could be misconstrued, misinterpreted, but still, the policy is there. If it is corruption, there's an 888. You can call it anytime. Just leave your number. If you don't want to be identified, leave a cell phone number. And I will treat it with utmost confidence. Yan lang. Tapos tawagin ko. Pag negosyante ka, ganon, corruption, I will call him, as I did in some. May undersecretary ako yung sinipa ko sa mukha. At tinawag ko yan. So what's your complaint? He's here right now. Kita na talaga ng himago siguro itong mga presidential guards. Butangiro yung nila kita ng presidenteng nagbubugbog. Sinipa ko talaga sa mukha. But it was really a serious offense also. I could have killed him. It was so serious, I could have killed him. Sabi ko, just go away. Yun ang policy. Kung magduda kayo, you can sabi ko nga, cannot file a case against me for corruption. Not in a million years. I do not even call them. You can ask them now, was there a time when you swore to office that tumawag ako sa kanila for anything? Or whatever, for any matter. I do not use the cell phone. Sabihin ko lang kay Senator Bong. Ito si Senator Bong, go. Hindu ito, it looks Chinese because the father is go. Mga, sino bang taga Batangas dito? Kababayan ito, ito? Tesoro. So, barang sa Batangas. Batangginyo talaga yan. Kaya, nag-migrate Davao, nag-asawa ng, yung, nito, ang beginnings nito sa, the Philippines, Batangginyo ito. Tesoro ang nanay nito. Sabi ko kay Bong, sabihin mo lang, mag-usap na lang kami bukas. Ito, tanungin mo yan sila. Magtanong ka ba si sino? Your 1 peso will win 1 million. Wala akong tinawagan. I do not even know their number. Just a reminder, kasi sabi kay Delphine Lorenzana na we have to talk about these things. Ganon po ako. So, rest assured na sabihin niya may paborito ako na if at all, it could take place sa mga cabinet members ko. But I tell you, they are all honest. If they are into business na legit, they have to earn living. Most of them are military. Now, why? Let me explain, sir. This is the last paragraph. Apasahin ko na lang, baka makalimutan ko. On this note, I would like to congratulate my idol. Palakpak. Kayo lang ang audience na kailangan pa, you have to egg. Where's your enthusiasm? On this note again, I would like to congratulate my idol for his successful book launch. I wish you good health, sir, and greater success in your undertakings. We will be forever grateful for your uplifting leadership, and for your selfless service to the nation. Sir, my salute. Thank you at mabuhay kayong lahat.